Friends, the next two sessions are really exciting, and we really hope we will learn a lot. Although the session is all about leadership and all the seven pillars, another important aspect when it comes to leadership is about Swami and Kosha. The next speaker which we will have is an amazing personality and a well-known name across the globe, and he is a Swami and also specialized in kosher. So it's not only that he is going to talk about the founder story or the Swami part or the kosher, but he's going to talk about India as a global leader, because that's what we all are positioned to be. And who else other than Mr. Motilal Oswal himself, who is going to talk about this. So we really look forward to learn and understand from you, sir.
So,
Over to you, sir.
good.
Most welcome, sir. Thank you very much for your time. Look forward to learn from you.
Yeah. So, good morning, friends. And first of all, thanks to Kanak and his team for giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts about my organization and my experience as founder and promoter of this company. It has been an amazing journey throughout. I would say I'm very, very lucky to be in the right place at the right time. We started our career in 1987. Me and Ramdev Agarwal, we formed a partnership firm, and we started our career in financial services as a sub-broking firm. And since then, I think there's no looking back. The markets are amazing. The environment is absolutely very, very favorable. So in the kind of economic scenario we have seen, we always cycles in the market. And I think the kind of opportunities I have seen in India emerging, it has been really, really fantastic. And still I feel that it is just the kind of beginning for us as a financial services firm, because the markets are actually have just opened up, and the global forces, the interest in the country, the size of the economy becoming far bigger than, I think, beyond trillions now. And we are going to, I think, have more and more milestones coming in from here. So I think this fantastic kind of journey. If I have to receive my role as a promoter, as a Swami, I think it's very exciting to share that when I started, the role was very different. Of course, you evolve as a person, you evolve as an organization. But I think the biggest kind of, I would say, the change is in terms of priority. Because when you, I would say, actually it is in three phases. If I have to look at my journey, I would say it is a three phases. One is the startup phase, second thing is the growth phase, and third thing is the institutional building phase. Of course, the priorities, the challenges, opportunities are very different at every phase. But when you look at the startup, I think you try to do everything from opening your office to hiring your first few members of your team to doing more and more sales and marketing calls, everything doing yourself. And in that process, you know what works and what doesn't work. And of course, you need to have some thoughts about your business strategies. But I think strategy become very, very simple when you start. You just have an idea and you become just better and better and better, and then try to make sure that you become bigger in that process. I think so 1987 to, I would say, 1995 was a startup phase for us, where we used to do everything ourselves with a few small number of team and just focusing on your core product, which was the broking, to begin with retail broking and then institutional broking. So, and the next phase, when we look at that now your core business is good, you want to, I think, move to a growth phase, then you start thinking differently, you start spending more time on differently, and then actually focus happens, shift from yourself, from customers towards your major stakeholders, which are your employees. Now you start actually thinking about the organization's longevity. You start thinking about how to really get the best talent, how to train them, how to retain them, how to motivate them. So you create a very, very strong team in that growth phase. I think, of course, your also focus shifts from a few products to more and more products, more line of businesses, so that the organization actually can become much, much bigger. And strategically, you start shifting your priorities from more execution to, I would say, little execution through your people, but more importantly, you create a strong machine across the function, being operation, risk, research, advisory, HR, marketing, sales, all those kind of functions really, I think, get institutionalized, they get built, and then process. You hire a very, very competent team who actually start creating a very strong ecosystem for next level of growth. In the third phase, which is the institutional building phase, of course, you continue what has worked for you in your startup and growth phase, but then you start thinking about very longer term kind of processes, that how do you bring longevity organization, how do you create a very strong succession planning, how do you invest more into leadership development programs, how do you spend actually your time from more shifting in favor of, I would say, the grooming and coaching and the mentoring your people. At the same time, many times I think just see that you are at 50,000 feet looking at the holistic organization, and many times you come from 50,000 feet to 5 feet also to have to make sure that customer experience become great. The employee kind of connect is there. You build personal relationship with not only your senior management team, but to, I would say, 1 or 2 level below. And you also start spending some time on managing all the stakeholders, being shareholders, being the stock analysts, because we are a listed firm, so analyst, relationship management, your regulatory kind of relationship management, your large customer relationship management, your key talent kind of management. So that's the way I would say the whole organization actually keeps on moving, and you keep on shifting your priorities. At the same time, many times it happens that you still go on the sales calls. You still try to make sure that your customer kind of connect is there, your kind of partners, many business partners whom still we have very strong bonding. We talk to them, we create a lot of engagement programs to them one-to-one. We create kind of more and more engagement programs in the group. We create more and more forums and social programs. We spend a lot of time in training, not only our people, but I think our partners, people, and to make sure that we become kind of, I think, enabler of growth. I think if I have to really look at what are the major learnings, I think in this career of 32, 33 years in financial markets, I would say, I think 4 or 5 core learnings which I would like to share. One is the values become very, very important, because in financial markets, what actually matters is when you play with billions of dollars of the client's money and you advise them, your reputation becomes very, very important, and that's where your values, the ethos, the ethics, your other values in terms of kind of your empathy and relationship with your kind of customers and key use plays a very, very important part. So how do we make sure that when you are smaller, I think you can see what's happening in front of your eyes, but once you become very, very large, you've got 10,000 employees, you've got so many kind of partners working across the territories. It's very, very important that we invest a lot and we keep our ears and eyes open to make sure that our ethical standards are maintained and our value kind of remain intact. Second thing is, which is again really, I think very, very important, is your culture. That what kind of culture you create. Because as a founder, when you work with small team, actually you know what's happening and what kind of cultural kind of setup you want to create when it comes to customer experiences, when it comes to I would say your employees interactions. I think the culture is what settles different. That how do you bring humility? How do you connect with people? How do you create informal kind of environment here? How you really make sure that there's no politics in the organization, because when the organization become very large, there's some kind of, I think, political elements also try to enter that. So the culture of meritocracy, the values kind of are very, very important to set up, and that's what the founder's responsibility is there, that to make sure that you create a very strong value-driven organization, and you also set up the culture so that those kind of values and your principles really are kind of lived by the people at every interaction. Third thing, it is very important that whatever you do, I think you must do for keeping in mind your next 10 years, 20 years. So you definitely think big, but at the same time, you think long term. And that's what, as a promoter, as a founder, as a Swami, we need to really, I think, keep on spending a lot of time, make sure that we bring longevity to the organization. The next thing is, where do you invest? Of course, we advise our customers to invest in the markets, but as an organization, as a founder, I think we need to spend a lot of time, or I spend a lot of time, to make sure that we invest in the right people, we invest in right processes, we invest in right brand, doing the right kind of, I think, brand management activities, and we build a lot of processes. So people, processes, brand, technology, those are the investments actually of creating an institution so that it brings longevity and also it brings growth. And those are the things really which are actually many times not visible to the external world, because investment in people means what? Spending a lot of time with them. I think spending in listening to their aspiration, spending in coaching to them, to make sure that they get the right kind of perspective when it comes to the organization's values and ethos. You create right kind of training programs, you can align with right kind of best institutions and get the best training programs to make sure that really you invest in people, their technical skills, their leadership management skills, because at the end of the day, people kind of need to be groomed to take care of the larger responsibilities. So we all learn on the job, and that's where our efforts go into creating that institution. And the last thing which I would like to say, that when you think for the long term, actually you need to have a lot of patience. You will do mistakes, people will do mistakes, and that's the game of learning from your mistakes, and having a lot of patience to make sure that your business grows, your kind of culture and values are kind of maintained, and at the same time you need to have a lot of perseverance. That Lagero kind of, that keep on doing the right things. I think when the markets may be volatile, markets may be good, markets may be bad, but you keep on kind of, I think, investing for long term to make sure that it brings huge amount of growth and longevity for the firm. So this was, I would say, in short, some thoughts I wanted to share, how we have been able to create or migrate from a startup phase to a growth phase to an institution building phase. It has been very, very exciting. I would say the India as an opportunity is very, very exciting to see, more than me about the market opportunities, the kind of, I think, products, the kind of technological disruptions, as well as kind of opportunity which the environment is giving. The size of the market is fantastic. So in that sense, I would say I'm very, very happy to be with you, and very, very privileged to be with you. I'm open to any kind of questions if you have time and if you want. Thank you.
Yes, sir, we have 15 minutes time more. But before others will ask a question, one question very specific to you, that we have seen you as a very, very successful founder. And then you have also been and then there is a co-founder, which means again a partnership. Okay, that's again a very, very big thing, building up such a big organization. Second thing, we have also seen you are very, very active socially also. in social organization, you are so active, and as a company owner, and as a, so all these things, no, also socially, and also holding the top position, and also being into, so how do you think like a role of a Swami, and then the whole thing, how is it, what are the ideas, or what are the secrets, if you can just share?
No, I think when we started, me and Ramdev both together in '87, we had a fantastic kind of thing, I would say, camaraderie or the working relationship, which really I think still continues. We had different kind of, I would say, complementary skills when it comes to building organization. I think was very good on research, and I used to be good on customer engagement, on kind of, I think, sales and transaction and trading. So we build partnership based on the complementary skills, but more important is the trust in each other. I think the unwavering trust or the blind trust, whatever you want to call it, it has to be very, very important. And I think uh, we both really have, I would say, met each other's expectations and have put 100% faith into each other. So that's the kind of partnership. When it comes to, I would say, priority, as I said, that I think when you become much more mature, you become older, you, of course, I think slowly start making sure that you contribute something, not only within the organization, but also you become kind of more socially responsible. What I call it really, I think in initial phase, you got learning and earning, both the things which happens as part of your professional career. But I think somewhere also we need to make sure that apart from the learning and earning, we also start returning something back. So there's a journey about learn, earn, and return. I think, and that continues. I don't know, socially, we have contributed in what context. I don't know, it is for you to judge, but I make sure that we not only give time to many social organizations, we also give resources, and we have created some of the fantastic institutions, even on the social side.
How important is it for a Swami, or like the founder or the owner, to be a giver also? Is both the things go hand in hand, or it's like, is it complementary, or is it important?
No, see, it is a kind of personal kind of choice. Many people, I think, I would say, they start socially more than kind of for self-centric cause. But I think one need to have very balanced kind of approach, especially once you achieve certain degree of, I would say, success in your professional career.
And how do you, what is your advice on managing the sentiments of investors? I think this is something which each and every, whether it is a mutual fund distributor or a broker, like this is something, a challenge which is there, and especially in these times when the markets are at such a level, आगे अब कुछ दिख नहीं रहा है, और सब लोग how to manage that sentiments, मतलब?
No, I think, see, markets are doing their role. What we need to have is the discipline approach in every walk of life, whether it is personal life, whether it is professional life, or whether it is a kind of, I think, manage your own wealth. It requires a lot of discipline. It requires kind of, I would say, managing your own emotions, which is fear and greed, and at the same time having very clear strategy in place. And that's what I think, because markets give you a lot of opportunities, but at the same time it becomes euphoric. So I think the control on your emotions is very, very important, and sticking to your strategy, that is really, again, really, I think, very important. Because in rising market, people keep on kind of changing their asset allocation mix in terms of equities, and the other way around when the markets are falling, which is not the right thing to do, and markets are unpredictable, right? So stick to your core, and of course, I think, have discipline on your own kind of emotions.
Coming back to little macro level, considering that how Indian markets will play an important role so that India becomes a global leader.
See, when we look at, say, a history 250 years back, our Indian GDP was actually 25% of the global GDP, which is now 2% actually. So from 25% to 2%, I would say now, I think India as a superpower, actually power is being recognized. We are now maybe top fifth or top sixth in terms of GDP. And I think we definitely will move up the value curve. The global interest actually in India is increasing. I think we have got a large domestic consumption story. We've got huge amount of, I would say, skilled and especially technology edge, and our governance and legal system, I would say, give a lot of confidence, especially compared to our counterpart like China. So international investors have got huge amount of, I would say, comfort with India compared to China. And at the same time, we've got a very strong economy, barring 1 or 2 years here and there. I would say GDP is going to cross to 5 trillion before 2027, 28, and maybe 10 before 2034 or 35. So the size of the domestic economy also is very, very large. And I think many pieces of the puzzles are in place for us to, I think, move fast from here.
So true. In fact, there is one question in the chat box which is talking about starting with the brokerage days. Okay, like even as your organization also, it was all about earning brokerage because it's a broking business, and now moving towards advisory. Now, how the things and dynamics, everything is changing as far as investments and advisory is concerned. So how do you explain this whole thing? Why is it important that people should change, especially the intermediaries? And what should be the role or attitude as far as this whole thing, which is changing so dynamically, is there?
See, Kanak, today, if you look at the kind of equity broking part, or the kind of, I think, I would say the trading part. So markets has become much more, I would say, trading oriented rather than investment oriented. So investors actually are moving their money towards mutual funds, which is the right thing, and no more speculative, or very people who want to, I think, do their own kind of stuff, they do it yourself. So my view, broking is actually not a good product for channelizing the savings into direct stocks. Well, it requires, I would say, what I call it 3T: time, talent, and temperament. Now, time, talent, and temperament. Temperament is the most important thing. But that's where I think most of us, even including myself, go wrong when we try to forecast the markets on short term, because you can't really predict the markets in short term. So broking actually has become much more like a gambling and speculative kind of stuff. And investments, actually, for the right kind of long-term investors, better to move to the mutual funds or kind of, I think, other long-term savings products. So equity remain the kind of, I would say, fundamental part of the investments also, but when it comes to broking, it has become much more short-termist, speculative, and sentiment-driven rather than investment-driven.
Another important question is about ETFs. There is a global trend about ETFs, and in India also we are looking at ETFs in a big way. And I think what we will tell about that?
No, I think the products, end of the day, when the markets are expanding, you got different kind of products. You got active products, you got passive products, you got direct stocks as products through broking or through investing directly. So it all depends upon, really, I think, upon the individual choice. If you want simpler products, don't want to kind of, I think, take undue risk and low cost, then ETFs are definitely the greater products. So I would say ETF and SIP through ETFs are a very simple product for the masses. Globally, ETF actually are attracting more money than the active funds, which really the trend has started in India also. We've got now a lot of ETFs. We also, as a firm, also have kind of ETF, whether it's NASDAQ or S&P, a lot of other ETF products. So product selection is very, very important. But I think simpler and cost-effective are two major benefits of investing through ETFs.
And are we moving towards a scenario wherein passive management of schemes will become more and more important than active management of schemes? Because the way we are looking at the trends, more and more passive schemes are getting launched as of now.
Yeah, I think, see, the more important question, the trend is huge amount of money is coming to the funds, whether it comes to active or passive, because both are benchmarked kind of towardsly giving the right kind of returns and the products to the investors. So I think in India, still too early to say that passive will become very big, bigger than active. I think it's going to take a lot of time because there is institutional framework for active funds. There are large institutions that are providing this kind of products, and I think at the same time, new products are coming in from passive side. So I think it is both have to coexist with each other.
So friends, this is all. Any other question you all have, you can write it in the chat box or maybe on the screen on this link. You can just scan and write what you have learned and what is that you would like to implement from Motilal Oswal ji's session. This is something which we all can just add on the screen. As you will write, and if same thing each one of you are writing more than once, it will become bigger and bigger. May I request some of you to just write, keep writing the content, whatever you have seen. In the meantime, I will also request Mr. Om Prakash ji to just give a vote of thanks, say thank you. Om Prakash ji from Noida. Over to you, Om Prakash ji.
Thank you, sir, for taking time out of your busy schedule and guiding us on a different success principle in investing as well as in common world. We have learned a lot from you in this session. On behalf of SSL Academy and Volatility Coach of India, we are sincerely very thankful to your contribution and taking out time for this great session with a lot of learning. And the most important learning that we feel is today that you have shared is trust, because the trust is such a word which has led you to have a partnership of more than 3 decades with Mr. Ramdev Agrawal ji. And with this trust word, we are also very much trustfully working with our clients and customers for their welfare and for their optimization of funds and investments. We are very much thankful for this, and I wish you all the best on behalf of all.
Thank you, Omji. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think you can see what people have learned. They are all writing it on the screen. It's like, I think the biggest word which everybody, most of the time people have written is discipline, and the trust on partnership, and the time, talent, and temperament. So these are like the key takeaways from your session, which is just coming up on the screen, which will keep on getting added. And with this, like, thank you, sir, so much. We also share with you the for your presence. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you from Financial Freedom Fraternity.
Okay, great. My pleasure.
Thank you, sir. So friends, this was with us, our very beloved and respected Mr. Ramdev Agrawal ji, and still all of you are writing the learnings which we had. So keep writing till our next speaker is there, because I think when we write it, that things get registered, and these learnings can really help each one of us the way we all can take it forward in our life. Okay. So we also would like to thank the presence of Akhil. Akhil, if you are there and if you can just say hello to everyone. Hello, Akhil, you are there? No. So with this, friends, we move further to our next speaker, Mr. Naren. Akhil, you are there? Would you like to speak something? Hello. Yeah. Okay. So moving forward, So friends, how is the learning so far? We all can just write boom in the chat box if we are enjoying, if it is good, or whatever else we can do. These are like 2 sessions just before the have to just check with Mr. Naren whether he is there. Yes, no doubt about that. So moving forward, I think still people are writing, the chats are happening. Good to see that. So just share one video till the time our next speaker is there. So friends, our next speaker is again someone who I think as a mutual fund industry, we all admire.